Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Cabinet on Wednesday, November the 12th, 2025. It is 18:30, so we will start the meeting. The meeting will be recorded live and live streamed by Arbitrator Council. Members and officers are reminded, please, to use the desk microphones in order for this to work. Only 2 microphones in addition to the chairman's can be on at the same time. With regard to mobile phones, members would be reminded very gently, please, to make sure that they are either silent or are switched off. And the fire exits are where I think we all know where they are, because there are no members of the public here tonight, but obviously if there is a fire alarm, it's not a drill, it is for real. So please use one of the fire exits, and then we meet on Mill Hill. We have as item 1, apologies for absence. And I have apologies from Councillor Asher and Councillor Galton, both of which I think are down with this flu that seems to be flying around everywhere. But before we go on to item 2 and the declaration of members' interest, I would just like to go around the table as normal and ask everyone if they could introduce themselves for the benefit of the tape. Councillor Finan, would you like to introduce yourself to start off with, please?
Yes, so I'm Councillor Finan. I am the chair of Scrutiny for Performance, and I'm here to present information from the Joint Scrutiny Commission that occurred on the 30th of October.
Thank you.
I'm Councillor Jim Knight. I'm portfolio holder for finance.
Thank you, Councillor Paul Beadle, for the corporate and wellbeing portfolio.
Councillor Darren Woodworth, portfolio holder for climate change and neighbourhood services.
Liz Elliott, Deputy Chief Executive.
Good evening, John Richardson, Chief Executive.
Good evening, I'm Leah Mickleborough, Head of Democratic Services and Elections and Monitoring Officer.
Ella Newman, Democratic Services Manager.
Bob Mason, Director of Resources in Section 151.
Sean Grosser, Head of Financial Services.
Good evening, David Atkinson, Director of Planning.
Business Planning Manager.
And I'm Phil Knowles, I'm the leader of the council, and I'm chairing this evening's meeting. So we now move on to item 2, which is declaration of members' interests. Any member need to declare any interest at all? No? Okay. We now move on to item 3, which is the information exchange. With having 2 of the portfolio holders off tonight, what I'm going to suggest we do is that we actually supply by email to each of Cabinet copies of the information exchange, and then ask Councillor Galton and Councillor Asher to do the same, and then they can be included into the minutes of the meeting, which I've checked with the monitoring officer, and that's quite acceptable to do that. So we will do that. So we can move on from that item, and the same with the council champions update. For the same reason, the report is ready, but we aren't able to present that tonight. I'm not aware under item 5 of any questions to Cabinet, unless the officers are going to tell me otherwise. No? Okay. Now, I do intend to move the agenda around a little bit, if I may, please. So I'm told that I can, before I take the draft minutes, bring item 10 up the agenda, which is proposals for local government reorganisation, which is actually listed on the agenda under pages 83 to 222. And I think I've done all right, Stuart. We're only 1 minute into the meeting, so you're on.
Thank you very much. So I'm here to present the report from the meeting held on the 30th of October related to the local government reorganisation. So thank you for inviting me. It was Councillor Anderson that chaired the meeting, but I'm here as a chair of one of the scrutiny panels to present the information that was gained from that meeting. So thank you. I appreciated your comments on Monday night's council about the value of the joint scrutiny meeting to review the local government reorganisation proposals. Our meeting on 30th of October was a really constructive session, providing members the opportunity to question and challenge the North City South proposals, and I think really helped facilitate a positive debate at the council on Monday. On Friday, the recommendations that you've got in front of you now, I believe, were circulated to all members of the council. Ultimately, all proposals will be reviewed by the government when it decides its preferred option, and the recommendations, we believe, will hopefully serve to strengthen the North City South proposal, giving it the best chance of success. I therefore hope you will consider adopting these and agreeing the proposals are amended as suggested. And I'd just like to give thanks to Leah and the other officers who have done an outstanding job on putting this forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. I mean, I would like to just start off by thanking you for coming along this evening. I think we've been blessed with a really strong input from scrutiny on this and all members. And I think that's vitally important because this is a document and a change that's going to impact on local government. Well, if the last one is anything to go by for the next 50 years. So it's so important that we get this right. All members have inputted, and I think that's something we can be very proud of. And those who haven't have certainly had the opportunity to do so, and they've all seen the documentation. Both scrutiny meeting and the full council gave the opportunity to ensure that every councillor on the authority has had the opportunity of this input, and the comments and points were captured in detail. And again, I think that was important because, as you rightly say, Stuart, a lot of good stuff came out of that meeting. Really important that we get that embedded and considered. I'm very proud to say that we've got 6,500 people who've engaged with this document, consultation on it, which is something that we can be rightly proud of. And I think it evidences that we gave a commitment that we would listen both to the community and to the council. And I think we've done both of that. Harbour District Council isn't broken, but central government is determined to push on with this. So there are still many arguments to win and lots of burning of the midnight oil, I'm afraid. I've got to say to our officers, there's certainly going to be a lot more work to do on this one. But that's for the future. We are where we are tonight, which is at this next hurdle, which is the hopeful adoption of a way forward on this. Before I sort of do anything else, I would just like to ask the Chief Executive, is there anything you want to add at all, John? Because we had the meeting this morning with all the other leaders.
Thank you, Leader. No, just to confirm that from Harbour's perspective, we've been through all our due process now and our governance, which has been outlined through scrutiny and then through council. As members will be aware, this has to go through the same due governance process in all of the other authorities. I think we're second to be completed if it goes through tonight. Others will follow over the course of this week and next week. At that point, we'll have a final position from all authorities, and then we'll head for final submission on the 28th of November. But no, nothing further to add than that at this point.
Thank you very much. Any members want to come in at all? Any comments that anyone wishes to make? Darren, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Yeah, really, there's not much I can say that hasn't been said before, but it's really just to reiterate that this LGR process is not wanted and not needed, as you said on many, many occasions. To me, devolution brings power to the people, but this seems to be abstracting it up to a higher authority by simplification of the two tiers. But it kind of came a combined authority as well with the mayor on top. So it's not simplifying things in my mind. I still think it's undemocratic. But again, I'd like to express my thanks to the officers for this wonderful document. And as has been pointed out, it's imperfect because we've had to make lots of assumptions and the government may just ignore it. But one thing that hasn't been mentioned is the Police and Crime Commissioner role will disappear with this as well, which I'm not sure whether to be happy about because we don't know what will replace it. But there you go. Thank you very much.
I think there was some comment, John, about that going into the new responsibilities of the mayor, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. That's the expectation that role will be taken up by the new mayor of the combined authority when that's established. But yeah, with no date for the establishment of that yet.
I think the one thing I will say, and I made the point the other night, is that it was quite refreshing because all of the leaders from across the boroughs and districts across Leicestershire and the leader of Rutland all came in and left politics at the door, and they came in with one real commitment, which was to do the best that we could for the community. I honestly don't know how the officers have put up with it half the time because we sat there spending hours and hours and hours debating all sorts of things, and I'm sure the officers thought at 1 minute they were going direction A to B, and then suddenly it changed to X to Z. But we wanted to, and we did, explore absolutely every avenue. It was important that we did. We've arrived here, I think, at a really well-structured document. And it's a document that will improve because of the input of our scrutiny and other scrutinies, because obviously it was presented warts and all. And I think as Stuart's touched on, you know, the input from scrutiny has been fantastic. It really has. And it's important because it's also evidence of the cabinet working with the scrutiny panels. And I think, again, that's good governance, and very, very important that we do that. Is there anything else the officers want to add at all? Stuart, is there anything you want to add from scrutiny or from your personal point of view?
No, I mean, I kind of echo Councillor Woodowiss's comments about this isn't needed. You know, from my understanding is the whole process is meant to be about cost cutting. And from a resident's point of view, you know, even this proposal, which seems to be the best option, is going to increase council tax, or at least is going to fix council tax for at least 3 years at 5%. So I don't really see the benefits of it, but in a situation where you've got to do something, this does seem like the best option. So.
Best of a bad job,
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well said. Okay. No one else want to make any more comments? Okay. Well, I would like to formally move that we confirm Harbour District Council support for North City South reorganisation proposal. That's A. B, we confirm the Leaders' Authority to consider and agree amendments to the proposals prior to submission to government on the 28th of November 2025. That is something that's having to be done right across the county because obviously time is extremely short. And C, we ask officers to incorporate the recommendations from scrutiny where possible, because obviously all of those are under review at the moment, and it is important that we take those on board. So I would formally move A, B and C there. I wonder if somebody would second it.
I'm happy to second that, Leader.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Anybody want to make any comment before we put it to the vote? Okay.
Can I just,
Please,
if I
yes,
may, I will actually just say, yes, I again agree with all the comments that have been said. In terms of the changes that this brings, and I fully accept that council can be a very large and complicated system across when you've got county and district, and I do understand the reason behind trying to simplify the system in the hope that maybe in the long term it brings those rewards, and I understand why government wants to do this. I agree that our district isn't broken, and I think we have an extremely good system, and it possibly could have been improved without perhaps taking the sledgehammer to the walnut. But again, I also wish to make it stated that I also agree that this I see as the best option to keeping interlocal government.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. This delivers something that is small enough to keep the word local in local, but it's large enough to be able to deliver a very wide range of services that we're going to be required to deliver. A huge amount of work going into it, as I say, a lot more still to do, but you can't get away from the fact, and I think we all believe this, the local authority isn't broken, but the government are determined they're going to push ahead with it, and that determination is going to lead to just one thing, that somewhere in the middle of all of this, it's going to happen, and the timelines are extremely tight. So that's where we are. It has been moved and seconded. Unless anyone's got any further comments. Okay, we'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? Anyone against? That is carried unanimously. Stuart, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I
That's
hope you have a
okay.
pleasant
No,
evening.
thank you too. Thank you for coming. Okay, we now move to the next item on the agenda, which is draft minutes of the Cabinet 16th of the 9th, 2025, which I have here. Has everybody had the opportunity to take a look at them? Any changes, any comments at all? Okay, well, I move that those minutes be accepted. All those in favour? Anyone against? No. Okay, we now move on to the next item, which is item 7 on the agenda, which is annual Treasury Management Report and potential indicators. Jim, that's yours. Do you want to introduce it for us?
Just give me a second.
Okay, for the benefit of others, it's listed under pages 15 to 36 on the agenda. It's Jim as portfolio holder for finance who will comment, and then obviously we can ask Sean and anyone else who wants to come in to actually offer some information on it. This is the Treasury Management Report for 24-25 and carries the recommendation that the report to council.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, so I'll start with the Treasury Management integral part of the council finances relating to the cash flow management and financing of capital schemes. And the recommendations are note the annual Treasury Management Report 24-25 and recommends the report to council. And the reasons for this are the regulatory environment places responsibility on members for the review and scrutiny of Treasury management policy and activities. Council has a responsibility for Treasury activity, and I would like to put this to the Cabinet.
So you're moving the recommendation?
I would move the recommendation, yes.
Is there a second? So that's been moved and seconded. The details of the appendices are all listed there and exactly what each one of them covers. But I'll have been sure if Sean would like to highlight it in our areas.
Thank you, Chair. So the key parts of our Treasury management requirements are that we produce the annual Treasury strategy in advance of the year. So that was done in February 24. There was a mid-year Treasury update report that came to Cabinet in October and then Council in December 24. And then the annual review following the end of the year describing activity compared to the strategy. And that's what you're seeing in this report. There are a number of summaries around our debt investment and capital activity in the year. So that's mostly in the appendices to the reports. I think some of the key items to pick up are that the capital expenditure was largely funded internally. We have some borrowing with the PWLB, which is a long-term loan with them. We are reaching a point where the interest rate on that is exceeding the rate that we're getting from investment because of the way the interest rates are heading. So there might be a decision to come on that to try and reduce the scope of some of that debt where it's in excess of where we're getting the returns. I think the key part that affects our revenue position is on 3.27, which is that there's been an average balance of 46 million maintained on internally managed funds. Much of that is invested in line with our risk portfolio, which is mostly with building societies. There's some with CCLA who have a money market fund and a property fund, and some of it is just directly with the bank to aid our liquidity position, so we're able to finance our day-to-day spending. Our average rate of return was 5.13% on the internally managed funds, and that compared to the average 7-day SONIA, which is the rate we normally compare performance against, was favourable. So that rate was 4.9%, so 0.23 percentage points above that. The total investment income that we received was reported to Cabinet and Council previously in the outturn report. So that was 2.775 million compared to a budget of 1.035 million. Largely, this was because interest rates didn't fall as they were expected to do last year because of the macroeconomic factors.
across the country. We are expecting that to be significantly lower this year, but still overperforming. That's more for the report to follow for December cabinet. But I think, like, is there any questions on any other parts of it or anything else that like, what do you think?
Anything anyone wants to raise? Very detailed report list. Do you want to come in?
Not necessarily on the report, it is a very technical report, but just to highlight that we have got treasury management member training to be scheduled in the new year. And after I spent a significant portion of my career doing treasury management for big county councils, it is quite interesting. It's not as dull and dreary as you think. It is interesting. Please turn up and please learn about it. So because I think it's interesting, but I'm an accountant, so then.
I think that's the deputy executive style pitch for the event. Tickets are on sale. No, okay, Liz, thank you for that. We'll make sure that that's circulated and everyone knows about it. Anything anyone else wants to bring to the table on this? No, Jim, anything you want to add to it?
No, not this time. Thank you.
Okay, Sean, thank you. Anything else? No. Well, if the money men are happy, and they seem to be, that's a good start for 10. And this is happy because we've advertised the event that's upcoming. Okay, it has been moved and seconded that the transact as listed. All those in favour? Anyone against? That is carried. We now move on to page 37, which is the local development scheme update. Should be presented by Councillor Gorton. I can tell you, I spoke to Simon a little earlier on. He'd made it to County Hall, but he was so ill, he went back home again. He was really not well at all with this flu bug that's flying around. So I promised him that I would actually give the brief summary. The report seeks to approval from the Council's local development scheme, the document which sets out the timetable for preparing its local plan and related documents. The latest LDS was adopted by Council on the 3rd of March 2025, and the update to the LDS is required to enable the continued preparation of the local plan. So what I did was, before the meeting, I had a chat with David, because obviously without Simon here, we need to have it moved by someone who's more specialised in planning. And David, would you kindly give us some feed-in on this, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So, local development scheme is the work programme for the preparation of the local plan. It advertises what we're going to do, when we're going to do it. And the key thing in the papers is page 55 of your agenda pack, which is a simple Gantt chart of the local plan, because the only document we're preparing at the moment is the local plan. I'll come back to that in just a couple of minutes. Essentially, the reason for the change is that it took longer to process the representations than we originally anticipated. The consultation on the Regulation 19 was hugely successful. We had over 2,000 responses, petitions and various other things. They were submitted to us in often a non-standard way. They weren't using the online software, which meant it's absolutely fine to do that, but it meant officers had to go through them manually, and it was quite time consuming and labour intensive. So we were intending in the original local development scheme to submit the plan around about now in the autumn of 2025, but that's additional work and ongoing work to make sure we process and remove as many concerns that stakeholders have about the plan before we get to the hearings, which would be, you can appreciate, is the right thing to do, has meant that we have taken a little longer than we anticipated, and therefore we're recommending tonight that you amend the LDS to enable a submission in March or April of 2026, Chairman, instead of the what's in the current local development scheme. There's just one more thing, if you'll indulge me to mention. The new local development scheme references the community infrastructure levy. That is to just put that in the scheme for reference. We're doing some early work on this, and we'll bring that back to CMT and members in due course for a conversation and a decision about whether the council wishes to become a charger of the community infrastructure levy. It's very useful to able to fund infrastructure to support the local plan, and would be very helpful to some of our partners across the county, helping to demonstrate we can fund that infrastructure and the plan is therefore deliverable. But we'll bring that back to members again, and then that will be a further review of the LDS at that time. But the recommendation, Chairman, is that Cabinet approve the updated local development scheme as set out in Appendix A.
Okay, thank you, David. I mean, I think the bottom line is we shouldn't apologise for the fact there's a delay, because the engagement has been so good.
So successful.
You know, wonderfully successful. We should encourage that. It's great that our community are getting involved. Anybody want to add anything? If not, I'm happy to move the recommendation that is laid out there. Councillor Gorton asked me if I would do that, and I said I would. I'm happy to move that the Cabinet approves the update to the local development scheme set out at Appendix A, which I think covers what we need to do. Is someone happy to second that? Thank you very much, Paul. Anybody want to comment at all? No? Everyone happy? Okay, all those in favour? Anyone against? That is carried unanimously. We now move on to item 9 on the agenda, which is the Community Wellbeing Plan and Annual Delivery Plan, which is listed on page 59 of the agenda. And quite a report that we know quite a lot about, really good section in there about the executive summary. Thanks like this. That's really, really useful. It obviously falls to myself and to Councillor Beadle to actually do the general presentation on this. Is there anything you want to say on this, Paul, before I bring Liz in to sort of give us some more background on it? You're quite happy? Yeah, it is a really, really good report. Liz, would you like to walk us through some of this, please?
Very much needed. So we brought you the Community Wellbeing Plan earlier in the year, and we went out to consultation on that Community Wellbeing Plan. We've had the consultation responses back in. It's quite a good consultation response for what we're historically used to seeing. We did go out and do some very specific engagement as well. So we engaged with Youth Council, and we went to parish councils as well, and presented the Community Wellbeing Plan to them to try and get the voice of different communities into a plan that will be fundamentally impacting on them. What we've done with that is we've incorporated that into the report for you, but we haven't actually changed the Community Wellbeing Plan that was presented to you back in July, because actually all the comments we got were very supportive of what we've got, and actually reiterated the fact that we think that we've got the right 5 pillars in place for the Community Wellbeing Plan. And what we have done though is we've now taken those 5 pillars and we've worked with some of our service managers to say, what are you going to do then to deliver those 5 pillars? And we've come up with some key activities, and they are in Appendix B. So under each one of those pillars, there are some key activities. Those key activities will form the annual delivery plan. They won't form all of the annual delivery plan. They will form a part of the annual delivery plan that is focused on your priorities and what you wanted to do as Cabinet. There will be some ongoing projects and some key regulatory type key activities. We will want to know, for example, whether we're doing all right on planning applications. We will want to know how the rewilding project's gone. So all of those big projects and those key corporate activities will be incorporated into the overall annual delivery plan, and we'll bring that back to you in February. That these particular activities are those that relate to the 5 pillars of the wellbeing plan, and that's what I'm asking you to agree tonight. And then we will go away, work that up into a much wider corporate plan and bring it back to you in February. We can then also use this to start to develop these service plans out with the service managers and feed that into the budget, so that what we're committing to, we can resource. And if we can't resource it, we will need to think about different ways of how we can deliver those things. So
I think
that's it. Thank you, Leader.
No, thanks, Liz. I think obviously Appendix A is on page 67. If anybody needs to locate it, Appendix B is on page 77. I think that this whole report underpins that we're on the right direction of travel with this, because we sat down, we got these 5 pillars in place. It's clearly put us in the right direction, and a lot of stuff can feed off that and hang on that. I think it's absolutely the right way that we're going. And I think involving people as we are, is again the right thing to be doing. I'm very, very happy with this report. I think there's an awful lot of detail in here, and thanks for that, Liz. It's really useful. That summary is excellent as well. Paul, is there anything you want to come in on?
Nothing further to add. No, just thanks to the officers for putting this together. It's a refresh of the plan. It's setting out our targets so we can measure ourselves against that and see how we're progressing. So fully support it.
No, well, I think it's excellent, and thank you very much in that. Well, I'm quite happy to move that. If I think we've got to move the recommendations which are listed there on page 60, which is agree the key activities for annual deliveries as set out in Appendix B. That's the key one, really, isn't it? So if we move the recommendations that are listed there, recommended the Cabinet consider the consultation, which we've done, et cetera, and then agree the key activities for the annual delivery plan 26-27 as set out in Appendix B. Well, obviously they're all there, and by moving that, we're doing exactly as the officers need us to do to move further with it. So is it someone prepared to second it, Paul? That's lovely. Any comments, anybody? All those in favour? Anyone against? That is carried. Which brings us on to item 10, which we've now covered, of course, and then item 11, which is any urgent business. Well, other than to say, again, and I want to just repeat this, a sincere thank you to all the members of the council, right across the chamber who've inputted into that LGR discussion that we've had. Very, very grateful to Stuart Farnham for coming along tonight and presenting it. I think, again, it's absolutely right that we are engaging with scrutiny, we're listening, we're taking on board, because this is such an important step for the future of local government. I don't think any of us really know where this is going to end up, because we're going to have umpteen different submissions. And at the end of the day, we're going to be having to go to London to put our case again to more and more civil servants in London, and we're going to be pushing our case even harder to ministers. I feel sorry for Baroness Taylor, because I've got a feeling she's going to be getting it again, and we're all going to be going down there and saying this is what we need and what we want. But at the heart of everything we're trying to do with that is very much the best that we can deliver for our community, and I think it's the right thing. And I seriously want to say thank you to the Cabinet. You've been extremely supportive and worked really hard on this. And we've got a document here I think we can be proud of, and that will be, once finalised, the best that we can actually provide for local government for Leicester and Leicestershire and Rutland. I think it's absolutely the right way forward. You know, I'll do everything I can to stand our corner, protect our district, and deliver for the future. So if there's anything anybody else wants to add, if not, I'll bring the hammer down and say thank you very much. Thank you for your input, and the meeting is closed at 7:02.